Welcome to Manga Machinations! This is episode number 567, and we're doing another Jianghu Journeys. I'm Dakazu, and with me is Seamus2389,
Hello.
Morgana Santilli,
Hi there.
and he's back, Darfox8.
I am back from the grave.
You like how I did you announce you last?
Yes.
Keeping us all on our toes here.
I don't think Seamus is ready.
Honestly, like I didn't even notice. Like, I'm sorry. I just came off of work, and I wasn't here last week, so I was like, what,
Yeah, you're back.
completely out of it.
We're glad to hear that everything's squared away.
Yep, everything's a-okay ish.
Good. Yeah. So yesterday was Halloween. Did everyone have a nice Halloween?
Oh, yeah.
Pretty nice. I have something humorous to say.
Oh.
I went to a friend's house. I do this most years. I go to his house and we pass out candies in front of, because he lives like in a neighborhood with actual houses and sidewalks and
actual
stuff.
Suburbs. Mhm.
It's crazy. What is that like? Literally when I seen it in the movies, also at my friend's house. But so like he's kind of like cool and hip, and he has like a bunch of like comic books and a bunch of like, leftover free comic book days. So he just hands out a bunch of like comic books and Pokemon cards and stuff. So like,
Whoa.
his house is pretty cool. Like you get candy plus like a bunch of other nerd stuff. And he said, "You got a bunch of Gundam cards, right? Why don't you bring some over?" And I was like, "Sure." I have like a bunch of like of the garbage cards because
Right.
when you buy boosters, you get like the common cards. You get like 6 of this common card that you're never going to use. So I got a bunch of them. I probably got like about like 50 or 60 cards that I didn't need, and I put them in like penny sleeves. And I did not realize how little pool Gundam had with like tiny kids. It's like some of them would be like, "Oh, Pokemon," and all of them would be like, "What is that?"
Yeah, no.
Nobody like, and I knew that like Pokemon or still not Pokemon. I knew like Gundam is very much like an elder anime guy thing, and it's a little bit, it's way more niche and nerdy. But I figured just like cool robot drawings would drew people, but like no fucking emotion on that table, bro. I'll tell you that much. Like, honestly, like they didn't get that much comic books. I think honestly, like the kids were probably just overstimulated, and they're like, like walking up to this table with a bunch of stuff. They're like, if I touch so much stuff, am I going to get my wrist slapped or something like that? But it was fun.
We are streaming this recording live on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/MangaMacTV, because Darfox is back. And Lightning Bolt is in chat. Maybe one of those kids went home and Googled Gundams and became awakened.
So some of the kids did take, I mean, like maybe like 5 or 6 kids took Gundam. So like some of them did, and they will one day grow up to be like robot pilots or whatever.
And now you have about 55 more cards that you need to pawn off on some unsuspecting victim.
Yeah, I left that at my friend's house. I don't know what he's going to do with them.
They're going in the trash.
Collage. The
A
collage,
collage
as
would
well.
require work, Morgana. I don't know.
Nah, it'd be fun.
Burn them.
Seamus is on the Irish like Halloween bonfire kick.
Burning of the Gundams.
Some houses do have chimneys around here. Not a lot, but some do.
Yeah, who needs a chimney in Florida?
There. All you need is a couple pellets and some petrol. Like it's not that hard.
Seamus knows from experience.
Fair, like we no, because I lived in the countryside, so the only time we ever did it was for one year. My father decided like not to actually take in the hay, so we just like burnt it all. We were just like piling up a lot of grass and setting it on fire. It was great crack. Very smoky. Yeah. You're just burning like fields.
Nice. What about you, Morgana? You went out with your family?
I stay home and pass out candy. James goes with the kids. It was cold. It was real windy here. So last year I remember it was like I think it was like 75 degrees on Halloween. This year it was like I think the high was 54 in the middle of the day. So it was pretty cold and windy, which was fun, except that I couldn't wear my witch hat because it was just blowing off. So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. The kids are cute. I always love watching, there was one girl who came dressed as Britney Spears with like a snake around her neck. And I was like, "Oh, hey, Brittany." She's like, "Oh my God, you know what I am?" And I was like, "I'm not gonna tell her that I was like 10 when that music video came out."
Yeah.
Like, or however old I was. Like, yeah, I sure do. You're like 15. How do you know what this is? Like, truly,
Yeah, you're the weird one.
right? But no, it was cool. She looked like she was freezing though, because she wasn't wearing like a jacket or anything. She was just wearing like the little shorts and the
Oh no.
little top. And I'm like, and there are a lot of kids going around in short sleeves, no jacket. I'm like, my children, and now I'm a mom now, so I'm just like, you need a jacket. Why aren't you wearing a jacket? To these like strange teenagers who are like too cool to wear a jacket. Um, but yeah, it was a good time. The kids had a good time. They got a lot of candy.
Good. I didn't see any trick or treaters, but I walked around with my dog Wednesday, and she has a Halloween costume, which basically like it's just like a thing that goes around her neck that turns her into a flower, a sunflower, and everybody thought it was the most cutest thing.
Sorry, my for some reason my microphone just like dropped out for a second there, but so if you said something, I didn't hear you.
You didn't get to hear me talk about how cute my dog was as a
No,
sunflower?
I'm sorry. A sunflower, that is
shame.
cute.
Mm-hmm.
I was also
Maybe
gonna
I'll
say
post
something
a
else, but I
picture
don't
in our
remember.
Discord. You do anything for Halloween, Seamus?
What
You
did
see
I do?
anything?
I worked for 14 hours and then I went to see Cure. Wait, no, it was only
Hey,
12 hours.
you went to see The Cure? That's not bad.
Oh, Cure, it's like a Japanese movie. They had it on in
Oh,
cinema here.
I got excited. I was like, wait, is The Cure touring? They're like 65.
Oh, yeah,
What?
because I live around the corner from like Finchley's Street full of gay bars. Man, was it like a mess this morning when I was walking down.
The aftermath.
Yeah. I was like, I guess they do really get into Halloween in this country.
They do. They do. They do. Well, I hope every one of our listeners had a nice Halloween, whatever you did. And before I forget, let me thank our coffee supporters. If you want to financially support Manga Machinations, you can head over to ko-fi.com/MangaMac. And if you buy us a coffee, we will use that money to fund our manga reading projects. Become a supporter like Philip, Manga Matthew, Vicky Dalton, Lulu, A-Liz88, Chris from Canada, Deluid, Mia, Wyatt, Dr. Melface, Poor Mexican 72, Liquidus002, Extine, Jen, Neptic, Shirley Bossy Cat, and Tama Gamer. Thank you all for supporting Manga Machinations. Okay, next I have an email. And this is an email from Idan. Idan? Is that how you say it? Eden?
Aiden?
I-D-A-N?
IDAN? Oh, I don't know.
But I believe this is also Tama Gamer, who recently sent us a coffee purchase. So thank you so much. And they sent an email saying, "My first listener email question. Smiley face. Dear Manga Mac crew, big fan and coffee supporter, but first time writing to you. My question is, have you ever gained a new appreciation or understanding of a manga after reading another work by the same author and realizing he may be more artistic/meaningful than you thought? For example, after reading Hio Yamamoto's Homunculus and realizing how deeply he explores the human condition, I've reevaluated Ichi the Killer. It suddenly felt a bit less like 100% pure ultraviolence for seinen titillation, and more like a commentary on humanity's fascination with violence, although I'm not naive, and not everything there is for artistic value, obviously. kind of like how once you understand that Peter Verhoeven's RoboCop is satire on American society and capitalism, you can never look at Starship Troopers or Basic Instinct the same way again. And nor should you, because there's a lot beneath the surface. So has this ever happened to you in manga? Looking forward to your responses, Tama Gamer. Well, thank you for the email. I think yeah, there's a couple examples of this. I don't know if it's directly from just reading a different manga to get a better appreciation. But when you learn things about manga artists, it explains a lot. An
Mhm.
easy example is like Tsutomu Nihei. Once you know that he used to study architecture, it makes a lot of sense. Like all his backgrounds, all like the things that he draws, the giant big vistas, the superstructure, the megastructure and Blam, all that stuff. Or after watching the Manben episode, that's Naoki Urasawa's Japanese TV show about manga artists. There's an episode on Kazuhiro Fujita, the creator of Ushio and Tora. You learn that he does not do a pencil sketch. He only does a rough outline, and then he immediately starts inking. Like most manga artists, they do their outlines, they do a pencil sketch, and then they ink over the pencil sketch. Not Kazuhiro Fujita. That man just fucking starts drawing. And he uses whiteout a lot. So if he makes a mistake, he'll just erase it with whiteout and draw over it or chisel away his ink lines. And yeah, if you look at his like any of his manga and the battle scenes, you can see those effects really clearly. So that's like pretty cool. Do you have any examples of this, Morgana?
I'm trying to think. I feel like yes, but I can't think of like a specific one. I think the more you read of a single creator, the more you recognize how versatile they are. And of course, chances are you read more by a creator if you like the first thing you read by them. So it's a little hard to say how, whether you'll discover hidden depths if you don't connect with the first thing you read of theirs. I really appreciate any creator who can do kind of light entertainment stuff and then also get more involved with a story. I feel like, you know, that's more realistic. People are complicated, right? Sometimes they want to do one thing, sometimes the other. Sometimes they want to read one thing and the other. Gosh, I'm trying to think of like a good example though.
Oh, I have another good example. Remember when we all learned that Naoki Urasawa doesn't like have like his goal in mind with his storylines? That makes so much more fucking sense with all his like cliffhangers and why certain story threads never get resolved. My goodness. That's like a negative thing.
I do think learning more about the creators themselves gives a lot of and this, I mean, this is from manga, this is anything novels, knowing where like someone's background and the perspective they're coming in with and the context of what they've done with their work changes the way I feel about things sometimes. Like it was really helpful when we read Town of Pigs by Hideshino. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it, but then we got some extra context about the conditions under which Hino was writing and what he was writing about
Mm-hmm.
that I think really changed how I felt about it. Because I thought it was fun and enjoyable and weird, but with the context, I was like, "Oh, this is bigger than just being like an enjoyable horror book,"
Yeah, wasn't it like the real horrors of like trying to escape like was he in China during the time?
Yeah, I think he may have been.
During World War II, and it was trying to escape like people coming for all the Japanese people.
Yeah.
Something like that. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
Well, there was a culpability there and a guilt there that made the twist at the end make sense when the pigs were just him. And when we read it, we are like, "Wow, what a weird ending!" I remember that very specifically. And then when we got that context, it was like, "Oh, okay." He was kind of spitting. He was kind of like doing something like crazy there.
Mm-hmm. I think another good example is Shuzo Oshimi, although this did not work on Morgana. But yeah, the more works that you read, like after you start with Flowers of Evil and you go through like all those things, right? But then you get to Blood on the Tracks, and then you realize, oh, he had a really like abusive relationship with his mom. And now his current manga series, he's writing about like his younger brother that died. And it's like putting so many more things in perspective of like the events inside Flowers of Evil or
Yeah.
in Blood on the Tracks. Yeah.
You learn way too much about him. Like there's a lot of like really serious stuff about his life that if you read his manga, you start learning. And it's really some really shocking stuff. And then you go back and you think, okay, now I understand how he thought that like Devil's Ecstasy was supposed to be funny. Like I think I understand like how somebody like him can like make Devil's Ecstasy, because like before I was like, how could this man make Devil's Ecstasy and like Flowers of Evil? These books are so entirely different. But like after like seeing him more and more, like there's something definitely mercenary about Devil's Ecstasy, and I can see him being like, okay, yeah, let me just make. He draws so much random shit from his life, right?
Yeah.
He like what was it that the aggressive girl in Flowers of Evil would call people, like shitworm or something like that?
Shitbug maybe, something like that.
Yeah.
And like he just drew that from because somebody he saw a classmate call somebody that at some point, and that just went to his manga. So he's somebody who just always hung on to all these things.
Yeah, he's definitely a creator who like injects his work with his own life experiences. Not every mangaka is like that, obviously.
You know who actually I think is a really good example of what Tama Gamer is talking about? Tezuka. I think there's a really
Oh yes.
it's really my impression of him was always like, oh, he made Astro Boy, he does cute things for kids. And then I've read everything other than Astro Boy at this point, and it's all like, oh, death, incest, terrible thing. And that's not to say that's deeper or anything, but it is more complex. He makes other more complex, more adult stories than just you know, Astro Boy, Princess Knight, those things. So I think I definitely my opinion of his changed, and I didn't even read the less complex works. I don't even want to know if I want to call them less complex, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The ones that have a certain reputation. I didn't read those ones. I went straight into the other stuff and had my my initial impression completely kind of turned around.
Yeah, he had a couple manga during when he was like really depressed. Like his animation studio wasn't doing well, he was gonna be shut down. He had a manga series called Alabaster, and it's really dark. Especially like even more dark than like what did we read? Ayako?
Ayako, Jesus.
Yeah, it's even darker than that. Because Ayako was kind of like about like a certain time period and a certain like setting that kind of matched. But Alabaster is just like grim dark almost. And in the afterword, he wrote like, "Yeah, I really felt melancholy during this time." I was like, "Yep, it sure shows."
You don't say.
Isn't that same thing like Darfox with Tomino, who made Gundam? Why Zeta Gundam is so like dark?
That is one of the prevailing. I've never researched it myself, but some of like the fan talk online has been that like, yeah, he was kind of like a dark place during Zeta Gundam, because there is very disparate tones to Tomino's work, like modern Tomino and basically kind of stuff after Zeta stuff. Well, actually, no, I shouldn't say that because I'm not sure when what with his non Gundam work, right? But like, it's very light and very kind of kiddie in a way, even though it's still dealing with kind of like these serious stuff. It doesn't indulge in like grimdark stuff. Even when it gets sad, it doesn't get grimdark. But Zeta and original Gundam as well, but especially Zeta was like very grimdark. It was just
So depressing.
Yeah.
So not fun to watch.
yeah, it wallowed in it. Even though in Zeta, or sorry, even though in Double Zeta, they like spoilers, they drop a space colony at Dublin and fuck up Ireland. Um, is like really like fucked up and crazy moment in the show, but like it's done more in a more logical, built up kind of way, as opposed to just like Zeta, where it's just like, oh, I kidnapped your mom, I killed your mom, oh, I like a bunch of random shit constantly happening in Zeta, you know.
Yeah, just bad times in Zeta. Seamus, do you have any examples of this? Maybe not from manga for you, but
The only example that came to mind was the more I read of Urasawa, the less I liked.
I was thinking of that too. I was like, I wonder if she was gonna make that punchline, and then he did.
I was gonna ask like Hong Kong cinema or like maybe books and authors.
The other one I was actually thinking about, only because I rewatched it recently in cinema, is like A Better Tomorrow. Because I think like the first time I saw it, I was like, I like the action scenes, but all the drama stuff, I have no time for it. When I watched it this time, with a lot of people, I think in the cinema who'd never seen it before, and all I could think was a lot of people in here have eyes and they don't see Mount Chin, which is a water margin reference. Because I was like,
Mm.
no, now having watched more of his movies and like the stuff that came before and the stuff that comes after, I was like, I am here for the drama. All the family drama stuff between Leslie Chung and Yu Yu and
Yeah.
Chow Yun Fat off on the side. I'm like, this is great. But it's also like, once you learn, after every movie from like 1984 to 1997, it's like handover. Handover is coming. It's all going to be fucked. It like hangs over so many of those movies, and you're like, Jesus, these movies are. To be fair, they're bleak enough before the handover was announced. Like afterwards, you're just like, it's like, oh, everyone wants to get out. How are they going to do it? They're going to fucking kill other people.
Don't
Movies
you
are-
also say stuff about Garth Ennis with his Punisher run?
That is true. Well, Dennis is a bit different, I think, because I read Preacher and I thought that was all right. And then I heard his war comics are really good ones, and I read some of those, and I was like, okay, these are a lot better. And then I read, and then you read the Punisher Max stuff, and it's like, but I think that's just him. Well, actually, to be fair, I think I never read his Hitman stuff in the 90s. That's meant to be very good as well. Like, I think that's probably more a case of like, Garth Ennis is a man with highs and lows, or things I like and things I don't like, and it's just a matter of like finding the ones I do like.
I think that sometimes happens with like manga artists too. Like you'll read different works by them, and sometimes it's like, oh, this is just a case where this series was way better than this other series that they did. And maybe because of the concept of like that series, it didn't mesh well with them. Or sometimes, sometimes there's no real through line. I guess it just depends too.
I do think, well, to be fair, I don't think reading, Fujimoto, I think reading the rest of his stuff after reading Fire Punch, and I guess reading the what's the word I'm looking for? The non-violent stuff, for lack of a better word, like Goodbye Eerie and, the one there was a movie made out of
Look
recently.
Back.
Look Back, yes.
Yeah, we had an episode on that.
You're kind of like seeing him outside of like, say, like Chainsaw Man was kind of his big thing, and then Fire Punch was the thing I read it first of his that I really liked. Even though I would say they all, well, at least Fire Punch, Goodbye Eerie, and I think Look Back are all like people who are not good at dealing with the death of someone close to them.
I wonder if we'll get a future interview from Tatsuki Fujimoto where he reveals that was him. He had an issue where like he couldn't deal with someone's death. and that reflects in his manga. Could be, maybe
Yeah.
not. But yeah, that was a good discussion, and thank you, Tama Gamer, for your email. Remember, you can send emails over to mangamachinations@gmail.com. Okay, next let's move along to some what you been reading. Okay, Darfox, you were out last week, and I know you wanted to talk about something, so let's start with you. You can stop stuffing your face now.
I need it. Yeah, it was unfortunate that I was out because I was all excited because I got to watch the Chainsaw Man movie. And I was all excited to talk about it. But alas, it did not work out. Still, a week later, it's not bad to talk about it. So the Chainsaw Man movie, based off the Bomb Devil arc, which, if you know our podcast lore, it's when I really started to get into the Chainsaw Man manga. Dogs Unite will talk about Chainsaw Man occasionally, on the
We would.
podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But we were like interested in it, and we kind of like the art, but we weren't really into it, right? And at a certain point, we were talking about it very excitedly every single week. We were like, "Oh, did you read Chainsaw Man?" And it dawned on me, it was like, like when did I just become like such a Chainsaw Man stan? And you're like, it was the bomb. Oh, excuse me, it was the Bomb Devil arc, and it was. That's when like the comedy really starts hitting, and like the ideas really start going crazy, and it starts to like, that was one of the big moments where it's like, oh, this is a devil based off the fear of bombs, which is like major. And so this devil is extremely powerful and very like they're very overpowered. They could basically point at anybody and turn them into bomb and explode them. So like that really is like the before and after, where I think Chainsaw Man starts to get really, really good. So I was really excited to watch this movie. And I think it's a really good movie. I think that the movie does a really good job of replicating the arc, which is they introduce Reze, the character, and they show you why Denji would like Reze. And then at a certain point in the movie, it just becomes nonstop action, gags, set piece. It just never stops. That's how the arc was.
That's great.
So it's good, and it's really well animated, which I guess you might expect for like anime movie. Like they put some work into that. It just has so many scenes where like I don't know if this is gonna translate over the microphone or over the stream, but it's like when there's explosions, but it goes like it just like like everything goes black and then there's a spark and then there's explosion and then it's super all sudden and violent. The viciousness of the Bomb Devil is really well portrayed. And I think the emotional beat with the ending was also really well portrayed because the Bomb Devil is pretty much like a bad guy and they kill a lot of good guys, but like you kind of sympathize with them because you eventually learn that in some ways they're a victim as well, right? And this is a world where like organizations and governments are just like using people and treating their populace as super expendable, and it's just but it's a good gut punch at the end, and I think it's working on a lot of people online. It's a very basic story, but it's well done and it's well animated. I don't want to be like too controversial, but like I kind of hope this felt different from the anime series. This felt different from the first season of the anime. The first season of the anime, I don't remember how much we talked about it. But like I felt it was like too slow. They really slowed down the storytelling.
They took their time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I feel like Chainsaw Man is not that serious of a story. You know what I'm saying? Like it's there's something like disposable about it. There's something like it's really, really good and it's really well done and it's really like interesting ideas that pop. But like when you slow it down into like this prestige form storytelling, it kind of loses some of its teeth. And I feel like a quicker, crisper adaptation would be better for Chainsaw Man. And this kind of felt like that in my opinions. So maybe that's just me grasping at straws and just kind of like having some sort of confirmation bias. But I hope that the energy and kind of like the just the wild kineticness of this movie goes over to the second season of Chainsaw Man, which it was at this point it's inevitable, right?
Yeah, what you're saying about that slow anime adaptation, I agree. It was like really slow. And we got to the end of the season and I was watching with my husband and I'm like, "Oh my god, they've given us like nothing." There's like nothing here. And he was enjoying it and I'm like, it this hasn't even gotten like good yet, like
Yeah.
really good. Um but the thing about Chainsaw Man that I think is really fascinating is that it is at its heart it's like a hack and slash like B movie slasher film sort of vibe with like a lot of art, like capital A art. You know, like I mean because I think Fujimoto is really inspired by a lot of film and comics that are now considered classics but at their heart are really like pure entertainment. I think of like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre and which I have not seen, so I guess me saying that it's pure entertainment is maybe not fair, but
Yep.
you know what yeah. But you know what I mean? Like it has this like gory slasher vibe sort of thing, but it's also pretty yeah, there's a lot of concepts and ideas that are kind of artsy and cool. But yeah, I think it needs to be quick. I think it needs to be like in your face, and that is part of the appeal.
I think part of the appeal is that like Tatsuki Fujimoto isn't afraid to like make the main villain the gun devil and basically talk about like symbolically talk about like the obsession with guns that America has and stuff like that. And I don't know if y'all saw this, um, but this is not really spoilers. I'm not going to talk about anything that's happening in part 2 right now, but the, somebody matched up the face scar that Yoro has, the War Devil, and the face scar looks a lot. It's almost a perfect match. It's missing like a couple lines. It's almost perfect match to the logo for Lockheed Martin, which is like
Oh,
Yeah, I saw
industrial war
that.
complex, which is
very
like
interesting.
that's like the reason why Chase Man is like really good, because yeah, it's really basic and straightforward, and it does good character work, but then it just takes these wild swings. Like he's not afraid to just insert this like really like I mean, some people consider that transgressive, but like it's more just like a really obvious thing that we all know to be true. And he puts that shit in there, and sometimes he puts it in very, very like artfully. Um, and yeah, like I feel like that works out better when it's like, you know, part of a more like you know, is pulpy the right word? Like just something that's more disposable. It's more, it feels more significant to me that way. But whatever.
No, he does a much better job than like there are other manga artists who like put in stuff, slyly that's political, and they do bad things. Like they don't do it well, and it rightfully causes controversy. So in comparison, I would say Tatsuki Fujimoto is like way more smarter about that.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what the inevitable second season looks like. I'm hoping they can fit the rest of part 1 into one season. But yeah, we'll see. The Chainsaw Man movie, very good. I highly recommend it. It has an opening. I don't know if that's because they're planning on cutting the movie up into like episodes, like they did with the Demon Slayer movies. But the
Interesting.
opening really good. It's on YouTube. So if you just type up Chainsaw Man opening movie, you can watch it. It's similar to the first Chainsaw Man opening, where there's a lot like some movie references in it. So it's really for they reference like some French movie called Bonaparte or something like that. Um, and Constantine, like the Keanu Reeves Constantine for some reason.
Nice.
Leon the Professional is referencing that as well.
Hmm.
You know, that's one of the things I liked about the Chainsaw Man movie is that clearly they're trying to like emulate and pay homage to Tatsuki Fujimoto's like love for cinema. Um, and I hope they keep that and then just make it just make it quicker. I'm being very demanding as a Chainsaw Man fan, but
You're probably not the most demanding Chainsaw Man fan. Just put it out there.
no, but like apparently there's a controversy where like so American fans love the Chainsaw Man anime. It really blew up with the Chainsaw Man anime, but like there was controversy with the Japanese fans. They did not like. I guess I agree with them as far as the pacing and the styling of the anime, but they also were really mean about the voice acting in it. Because the voice acting apparently didn't sound like typical anime voice acting. It was meant to sound more like um live action acting, and the anime fans didn't like that. I did not pick up at that at all. I watched it with Japanese with English subtitles, and I did not. I don't know Japanese that well to pick up a difference between like
I picked it up. I know Japanese.
anime voice acting and
Oh,
real
wait,
voice.
is this
Yeah.
similar to like what we're talking about Michiko and Hatchin in terms of
Yes. Absolutely. How Michiko and Hatchin, they use actors who are not typical anime actors. It's more like live action actors. Kind of like how they happen for like big anime movies. It's the same way.
So like the otaku cast in Japan really dislike that, and there's a controversy.
wait, is there a podcast called the Otaku Cast, or are you just saying
No, like the cast
people who
system,
are otakus?
the cast of otakus that are below
There's
regular
gotta be a
nerds.
podcast out there called Otaku Cast. Sorry, Tar.
There's a pretty controversy because they made like some sort of recap movie for the Chainsaw Man anime, and they removed like they did not credit the original director. So
That's fucked up.
yeah. There seems to be like some sort of caving to the fans. At least that's the narrative online. Let me recognize that like I have not actually read any reputable reporting about this. This is what people are talking about online. So that's my disclaimer. Either way, regardless of whether I love the original anime or not, he did the work. They need to credit him because factually he did a very quality job. It's just not a direction that I personally liked. And I almost feel dirty like agreeing with these like weird like otaku fans of Chainsaw Man. Like I almost wish I did like it more.
Aren't you someone who wants like the Zack Snyder movie? Surely you're used to it.
Yeah, it's true. I'm a big fan of stuff that has terrible fans. It's common, but I'm one of the good. I'm like I'm like the few percent. You know what I'm saying?
Not all Chainsaw Man fans.
Yeah.
Wait, wouldn't it this case not all Chainsaw Man anime not fans?
It's convoluted.
Yeah, it's not as catchy.
I mean, like LB's in the chat, and he's saying that he prefers the live action style. He liked the first season of the anime, but he's an anime.
I'm sure a lot of people did.
Yeah, he's an anime primarily. He doesn't really read manga. He reads like some stuff, but like he watched Chainsaw Man and Dan just because we talked to him and we were like, hey, this is hype. So he checked it out, right? And so that's a really interesting thing about the Chainsaw Man fandom is that over time the manga grew to hype, and then there was hype for the anime series, and it kind of took on a life of its own. And now there's like really embarrassing Chainsaw Man fans that talk about like drinking the sweat off Makima's socks and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you don't have to like play into it that way. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I feel like there's gonna be people like that for any fandom.
Yeah.
Anime was a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think fandom is more the issue here.
Well, and I think this is fans, quote unquote fans, need to learn that they are not in control of artistic material, even commercial artistic material. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of people trying to like make demands of artists and companies and producers of this kind of content or this kind of media. They're making entertainment for you. Either you like it or you don't. engage or don't. Like you cannot. I'm so tired of this shit, guys.
Yeah, Morgana, but they got social media platforms to do that on, to get on their high
Yeah,
horses.
yeah.
Yeah, so we kind of dovetail to talk about the whole fandom and the kind of anime franchise in general, but like I do want to, finish up and reiterating that the anime movie is very good. I kind of want to I want to rewatch it. Like I hope it comes to streaming soon, sooner rather than later. It's just a fun time, um, and I'm glad that they. I was afraid that they were going to elongate it by inserting a bunch of random power scenes. Because if you remember in that arc, power is basically not present in that arc almost at all. She's in the very
Mhm.
beginning, and they write her out of the arc mostly for like so that Denji could like have the intimacy with Reze and that stuff could flourish. And I was like, are they going to write like 15, 20 minutes of content where Power's going off on her own adventure or something like that just to like pad the movie? They did not do none of that shit. Like, this is very straight and to the point, and people fucking heads explode and them just crazy action. It's really good.
Nice. I have 2 questions for you before we finish.
Yes.
Does this movie start with a movie theater scene?
It doesn't start with it, but that's the big first thing that happens. Yes.
Okay, good. Because at the anime season where they ended season 1, they did not get to that. So I wanted them to include that.
Yeah, and it fits really well because a big part of the arc is Denji developing feelings for Reze, and he's like, wait a second, I thought that like Makima was like the object of my affection. Is like, well, how? What? This is weird. I have affection for like 2 different people, and he's like trying to figure that out.
Mm-hmm. I forgot what my second question was, so we can end.
They nailed the joke with Bean. Bean was great. Bean was fantastic. Bean, I feel like it's gonna be a fan favorite.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay, nice, Star. Shall we move along?
Move along, move along.
Okay, I'll go next because I have a manga to talk about, which is very similar to Chainsaw Man. So good transition here. There's a new manga out over on Pocket Shonen Magazine. That is the web edition of like Shonen Magazine, Kodansha's weekly Shonen Magazine. Well, they have a bunch, they have monthly. Anyway, this manga is called JK Biker by Morihei Ohashi. JK stands for Joshikohei, or high school girl. I sent all the other hosts a link to the first chapter in Japanese. I was hoping this would be on K-Manga in English and Simulpub. It is not. Maybe for the best. But yeah, so this manga stars this girl. And she's basically female Denji. Her name is Alice. And at the very beginning of the manga, she's riding on a motorcycle to her school and then crashes it into a telephone pole. And she's like, oh my gosh, my bike. Yeah, it's destroyed. This is great. My mom told me I couldn't get a new bike. I'd have to ride my current one until it broke down. Well, I guess it broke down. So, yeah, she has this personality of being kind of a scumbag. She does whatever she wants, she acts however she wants. But after she destroys her bike comes back as this ghostly aberration that begins to haunt her. And while she's walking home to watch Doraemon, because she's 100% obsessed with Doraemon, the telephone pole comes back as a ghostly aberration to attack her. And then, yeah, she's gonna be punished for all the bad deeds she did. Like, threatening to cut herself unless her mom bought her a Doraemon thing. Or stealing all the class's Doraemon pudding so she could have it for herself. And then, like, she's faced, she's about to be eaten by this telephone pole monster. And she's just like, this is my punishment? But why should I be punished for doing whatever the fuck I want? And so yeah, she gives a middle finger. She busts out the motorcycle aberration, tells her to, you know, hey, I'll show you how to like fight this thing. Just agree to whatever I say. And then tricks her into giving her his body. I'm sorry, him, her body. And so yeah, she
Is this
turns.
Ghost Rider?
I mean, if you flip through the pages, she turns into a half motorcycle girl, smashes the telephone pole monster, and then, like, you know, the bike aberration is like, yay, I possessed her body. Now I have a body. But she loses control because her desire to see Doraemon is too strong. And then she's jumping around like, this is awesome, until she gets sliced in half at the end of the first chapter. And so yeah, total Chainsaw Man vibes. Now, I want to bring this manga up because you can tell that it's very clearly inspired by Chainsaw Man, with its kind of like wacky main protagonist being kind of a scumbag. Here's the thing. Denji is an idiot, and he is basically kind of a scumbag. But the way Denji sucks is kind of reflective on how, like, shonen battle protagonists are all idiots. And if you're really looking at it, they're kind of selfish idiots who do whatever the fuck they want. There's more going on in Chainsaw Man, where I can feel Tatsuki Fujimoto making, like, commentary on, you know, shonen battle protagonists. But with JK Biker, I feel like the creator is only taking the surface level things where you have an idiot protagonist who's very selfish and does whatever they want. And then they gain these powers to fight. And there's only like a couple chapters out of this. It's a pretty recent series. And it just feels like when you don't have like that setup that Denji has, where, you know, he had a horrible childhood, and I won't get into spoilers on Chainsaw Man, but, you know, there's basically a good setup for why Denji is the way that he is, why he's stupid, why he's not like book smart. He never got to go to school. And then you compare it to this, you know, high schooler who is just a selfish jerk. Like in future chapters, she joins an organization to fight these like ghostly aberrations. And she's like, I won't do it. And they tell her, but you'll get paid this huge amount of money. She's like, oh man, I'm going to fight for justice. But clearly she only wants money. She goes out with a squad, and the other squad member destroys the aberration. And she's like, okay, am I getting paid? And they're like, no, you didn't do anything. She's like, what? Oh, I know. These aberrations, you know, feed off of human blood. I'm going to give this dead aberration, defeated aberration, some of my blood, so it comes back to life, and then I'll destroy it, and then I'll get paid. So it's like, okay, a very selfish, you know, protagonist doing whatever they want. But then also, because of that, because there's no setup, I don't feel any sympathy for this character, Morgana. They're just a dick.
Yeah. It sounds really fun. Oh, sorry. I think I just hit the mic.
Yeah, it's fun in like the wacky shonen way, you know?
Yeah, it's fun, but it doesn't have that like I mean like Denji's a dumbass, but like I care about him. You know what I mean? Like I care about his character and what happens to him to a point. Sometimes I feel like that kid needs to get what's coming to him, but yeah, it is fun. I can definitely there's even like some of these panels that almost look like very inspired by Chainsaw Man. Just
oh yeah,
you know, just like even the design of the character. The artwork is not as polished as Fujimoto's.
it is
I would
not. I
say.
can tell this is a younger creator.
Yeah,
They
I
haven't
mean,
refined their craft.
yeah, it's fun. It's cool. It's you know, it's an enjoyable. Sometimes things don't have to be deep, right? You know, as we were saying, but yeah, I do think again one of the fascinating things about Chainsaw Man is how much it is like lowbrow entertainment, but also has a lot of like depth to it.
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, I don't see any depth in J.K. Biker, at least not yet. Maybe that will change. But I just thought it was a fascinating look at a series clearly inspired by Chainsaw Man, but just, as Dark Fox says, doesn't have the sauce.
I see the Chainsaw Man you're talking about, but honestly, to me, it kind of just sounds like a one comic, like a web comic. Like it's just absurd in a way that just it feels like one wrote this.
But one is like good.
I was just
I feel like one's quality of writing is like good enough where like you don't even need good artwork, and that was clear.
yeah,
With, like
yeah.
Mob Psycho, or his original One Punch Man. So
I just feel
just
like what would make this work, like think of Reagan and his selfishness, you know what I'm saying?
yeah. This doesn't quite have it, but I did want to bring it up as kind of an example of something that just like it's not there yet. Okay, moving on. I want to quickly talk about Tojima wants to be a common writer. Because I brought this up last week and instead we talked about some news. But yeah, this is based on a manga by Shibata Yokusaru, which Star Fox you will know as the guy who did Air Master. And what's funny about Yokusaru is he has these favorite characters that he always puts in all his manga. Darfox, do you remember a character from Air Master? It was a male character, but he used the same fighting style as Akira from Virtua Fighter. With like the shoulder checks and everything.
Yeah, no, I honestly only saw like the first like four or five episodes of Air Master.
Oh, okay.
So I might have seen it, but I wouldn't remember.
This character has been in Yokusaru's manga since like Air Master. They were in Hachiwan Diver, and now they're here in Tojima Wants to Be a Common Writer. That's just like a fun thing. Oh, that's like Tamagamer was saying, interesting things about manga artists. Some manga artists like to like reuse characters and keep putting them in their works, usually as side characters. But anyway, Tojima Wants to Be a Common Writer is all about Tanzaburo Tojima, who, he's a man who's now 40. He spent his whole life loving Kamen Rider, idolizing Kamen Rider, and he wanted to be a real Kamen Rider, but, he lives in the real world. He's just like a weird, obsessed otaku. But the only difference is he spent the 40 years of his life training his body to be strong enough to be an actual Kamen Rider. And then, suddenly, the enemy of the Kamen Riders are the Shocker organization. And then real-life Shockers start showing up. First, like, wannabe, like, copycat criminals. They're, like, robbing people. He gets to put on a children's Kamen Rider mask, and then he's crying because he's so happy that he gets to actually act like a real Kamen Rider. And then as you watch the series, you meet more people like him. There's a high school teacher, and this is a Shibata Yokusaru series, so of course she has the biggest knockers you've ever seen. She loves Tackle, which is a Kamen Rider character from Kamen Rider Stronger. And that character in the actual, Tokusatsu series dies. And she was so crushed as a child. But her father said, "You can be Tackle." And so she trains her body to be Tackle. And whenever she joins Tojima, and whenever there's a actual Shocker showing up, she immediately strips down to her underwear and puts out her like costume so she can fight as Tackle. She's really strong, but Shibata Yokusaru does not stay away from the TNA. So yeah, as the series goes on, you just get to keep watching Tojima meet more people who are clearly like total fanatics, obsessed otaku for Kamen Rider, and they all join forces to fight the real Shocker organization and then real monsters that appear. And they're all just like crying because they're so happy that they actually get to be Kamen Rider or Tackle or whoever else, there is. And it's really stupid and it's really fun. It's good dumb entertainment. I talked about the manga before, Dar, but the anime that's out right now, which is what I'm talking about, it's very good and very stupid. And they clearly had help from the actual company that does actual Kamen Rider. I think it's Toei. But yeah, they have like recap scenes of like the original Kamen Riders, like scenes from the show, and they got all the original voice actors to redo their lines, or they're using old like recordings from the show. So it's made with a blessing of the Kamen Rider, company, and yeah, it's really good dumb entertainment. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
This reminds me of Samurai Flamenco. Remember that show?
I do not. Remind me.
Was that Samurai Flamenco? I'm pretty sure it was, but basically, it was a guy who wanted to be a hero. It sounds almost exactly like this, and then he became like a hero, like a local town hero, where he'd help people find their umbrella, because he'd be like, "Oh, you took an umbrella. That's not your umbrella. Well, somebody took mine." It was like, "Well, we'll find yours." And then he's like, acts of kindness, pay it forward kind of guy.
Okay.
And he starts working with the police, but then eventually, a giant gorilla that talks appears, called Guillotine Gorilla, because he has a guillotine in his body, and he starts like cutting people in half. And he's like, "Oh, I gotta fight this guy." And then after that, it becomes like a regular like hero show with monsters and stuff. It was like a weird twist.
Okay, did it build up to that? A couple episodes?
Yeah, it built up like, I want to say it was almost like a whole core. It was like a lot of episodes, that like at least like 6-7 episodes, just building up to Guillotine Gorilla.
Okay. Well, and Tojima wants to be a Kamen Rider. It starts right from episode 1. we're going. We established that this guy is a loser Kamen Rider freak. And then, by chance, real shocker villains appear and he gets to live out his childhood fantasy. And he's always crying about how happy he is. And super stupid. So I just want to talk about that. I love Shibata Yokosaru's like comedy, his dumb entertainment. Hachiwan Diver is one of my favorite manga. So yeah, definitely worth checking out in my opinion. But yeah, we've been going for a while with the emails, so I will end there. Morgana, do you have anything?
Nothing. I didn't read anything. I did. You know what I did yesterday? I watched some Twilight Zone, and I know I talk about how much I like Twilight Zone, but I haven't watched it in a long time. And sometimes I think to myself, like, oh, I really love the Twilight Zone, but it's something I really enjoyed as a teenager. Does it hold up? Is it as good? Uh, I watched Eye of the Beholder, which is a very famous one, obviously, and then I watched The Masks, which is like my favorite one. But watching Eye of the Beholder, especially because I feel like that one's so famous, and it's almost like, I mean, I don't want to say it's like cheesy, but the payoff, right? It's been 40 years or
Is that the
60,
glasses one?
No, Eye of the Beholder is the one where there's a woman in the hospital undergoing treatment for she's
Oh,
ugly, basically, yeah.
yeah.
She's hideous. So this is like one of the most famous ones. And I hadn't seen it in a long time, and I'm like, well, yeah, of course it's famous because there's like a twist at the end. And I'm watching it yesterday, and I'm like, this is kind of incredible television. Like, they do a really they spend a very long time being very careful about not showing any faces. They don't show any faces until the very end. No faces. But they don't not have people facing each other. They're just really careful about the shots. And there's a whole lot of acting done with bodies and expressions and hands. It's really, really impressive. And I was kind of like, okay, I think it's easy when something becomes so much a part of the cultural vocabulary or like visual vocabulary. Like everybody kind of recognizes this now. it's easy to be like, oh yeah, that thing, and like write it off. But I don't know. I was actually really impressed by it, and maybe I just have the same taste as I did when I was 16. I don't know. I'm not proud. But I was really impressed with it, and it just yeah, Twilight Zone's good stuff. Also, The Masks, my favorite episode kind of ever. I discovered was directed by Ida Lupino, who was a very famous, well-known woman director in the 50s, 60s, 40s, 50s, 60s. At a time when there were not a whole lot of women directors. There are still not a whole lot of women directors, interestingly enough. But I hadn't realized that she had worked on Twilight Zone. So that was a pretty cool discovery. Yeah, go watch some old TV. It's kind of surprising. That's my advice for this week.
Nice. Okay, what about you, Seamus? Anything you want to talk about this week?
No.
Okay, easy peasy. That will end our What You Been Reading. Before we get to our main segment, let's talk about next week. So yeah, last week I announced that next week we'll be doing a triple dip. We're gonna continue to read a series. So not 3 new series, but in this case, 2 ongoing series that we've been reading. We're gonna be reading the 4th volume of #DRCL and the 3rd collection of The Climber, both by Shinichi Sakamoto. And yeah, this is gonna be interesting because Seamus was not happy with the first collection of The Climber because it's not written by Shinichi Sakamoto.
I don't think any of us were happy with the first volume of The Climber. Like, I mean,
Dar seemed kind of happy.
let's not give Seamus all the credit for being angry here. He gets enough of that.
Okay, fine, Morgana. But yeah, we're skipping over the second collection. We have not read it. I know the contents, so I might talk about that a little. But yeah, we're gonna jump right into the 3rd collection of The Climber, where Shinichi Sakamoto takes full control of the story. And yeah, I'm interested to see what the other hosts are gonna say about it. And of course, I'm very much looking forward to another volume of DRCL. Halloween may be done, but we're gonna celebrate it next week with that triple dip. On The Climber.
Always spooky here.
And yeah, so The Climber, Collection 3, and DRCL Volume 4. Stay tuned for that next week. Okay, everybody, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it'll be time for Jianghu Journeys. Okay, everybody, we are back. It's time for Part 7 of Jianghu Journeys. This is our tandem watch-along of 3 series: Mitchiko and Hatchin, Samurai Champloo, and Cowboy Bebop. For this episode, we checked out episode 8 of Mitchiko and Hatchin, which is Black Noise and a Dope Game. Episode 8 of Samurai Champloo, The Art of Altercation. And episode 7 of Cowboy Bebop, Heavy Metal Queen. So we will be openly talking about these 3 episodes. We're going to jump around to whatever we want to talk about. Freeform. Okay, who wants to kick it off?
It's been a while since I watched them, so I need to remember.
Did you watch them like last week?
I did. I watched them early in the week, because I need to watch things whenever my kids allow me to, which is
fair.
lately not all the time. I do love Heavy Metal Queen, though. I will just put that out there right away. It's one of my favorite episodes.
It's a great episode.
Yeah.
Remember a couple weeks ago I talked about a bad episode of Cowboy Bebop was coming?
Oh no.
Heavy Metal Queen, really?
Yep.
I was thinking, was this the one?
Well, what did you?
This is the one.
What don't you like about it?
Is it the heavy metal?
Listen, I think Yoko Kanno is a very talented person. Okay? But this heavy metal soundtrack for this episode, I'm talking specifically about this. I'm being very specific here. Listen. She's just not. Oh shit, Dar. Who's the guy who worked on Hajime no Ippo soundtrack and the Trigun soundtrack?
Suneo Imahori or something like that.
Yes, she is no Suneo Imahori when it comes to heavy metal stuff. These are the music tracks that I probably dislike the most in all of the Cowboy Bebop soundtrack.
Okay.
I think the story is fine. The animation is fine. But I think Sympathy for the Devil is much better than this.
Oh no. Nope. 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 Sorry. I don't mind the metal in this one. Though I never thought of it as like necessarily a good example of heavy metal, you know what I mean? But she listens to metal, so here's some metal music. But I love this episode. I love VT. I love the dumb cat. I love the whole, VT hates bounty hunters because her husband was a bounty hunter, and Spike is actually a good guy even though he's a bounty hunter. It's just, it's cheesy, but like it's the kind of tropey shit that I like in Bebop. Sometimes it does this that it's just kind of fun. No, this is a good episode. Sorry, Dakazu, you're just wrong.
Listen,
It's fine.
there's one thing that happens in this episode that just I can't get behind. And that is the zero gravity scene in space at the end.
I think that's
fair.
scientifically accurate.
Is it?
Yeah, like when you go out to space, your eyeballs don't explode or anything like that. Like you can be in space for a little bit until you like suffocate or probably freeze or maybe get irradiated. Like there's probably a lot of stuff that happens to you, but as far as like I think our views of what happens in space were like colored heavily by like Hollywood and like movies in the 90s where like people would explode when they get exposed to like a vacuum. But like it's not that violent. Like the difference between one atmosphere and like zero atmospheres is like it's not that big. Like for example, if there's a hole in a space station in real life, it doesn't rip open like the whole space station. Like they just plug it up. Like it's okay. Like it's not like the pressure on your lungs or something is gonna like explode them. I think like it fucks with your blood flow or something like that, and I think if you're out in space, like it'll make you sick. Like it won't be a good time, but you'll survive fine. My understanding as an astronaut.
See, Dar, I just can't trust you with this info.
Can all the astrophysicists in the audience please let us know if this is possible? I do think it is more possible than we think it is. I know that zero gravity and that the lack of atmosphere of space can screw with your organs and stuff, but I think I don't think it's like instantaneous. I mean, Spike said he had like what 30 seconds or something. So
I think the goofier part is him like shooting and like
Yes.
stopping his, which to be fair is portrayed pretty well because like it's not like he shoots himself to safety. He just shoots himself like towards the wall. He bounces off of it, and then he bounces off of like phase like craft. So even that's done okay, but that's still the goofy part.
Star Trek hat. It's got to go on. Doesn't there are probably more egregious space things happening in this series than this particular scene.
Okay,
Oh, yeah,
fair.
yeah.
That is fair. I still think it's probably the worst Cowboy Bebop episode.
Yeah, that's I mean, I guess you still have to choose one to be the worst. Like something has to be in the bottom. Well, I'm actually that's not true, but like if we want to choose something to be in the bottom, you know, I guess you could choose this one, but like I feel it's just a fun episode, and the aesthetics of all the different trucks or space trucks people had, and just the amount of character put into the episode is just it's a good time.
My husband mentioned when we watched it, he wanted to know why there was a Hindu goddess depicted in Japanese ukiyo-e on the tanker truck or whatever the freighter, whatever you want to call it. That indeed was a real mystery.
What is
Bro,
it?
Back to Tezuka Osamu's Buddha. Yeah, Seamus, weigh in on Heavy Metal Queen. What do you think of this?
I think Takuzu. I think at one point I think I would have agreed with you. Watching it now, I'm like, no, I like this episode. I think you're right. The music is like not good at all. But I just think VT is like a good off character, and her cat and all the stuff with Spike. Particularly like all the diner scene stuff, and then it ends where like the waitress saw his thing getting destroyed, and he's like, "Wait, why did you tell me?" Like, yeah, but I'm telling you now.
yeah, that's good.
Very, very funny into that whole like fight with the three lads who are wearing sombreros.
You know, I think it's just that music does so much heavy lifting for me in Cowboy Bebop. If I can't identify with the music, it's gonna really bring it down for me.
Okay, I'm gonna say something inflammatory, but like I like heavy metal is like that's barely music to me. Like I don't like I do
Whoa,
not
I'm
I-
not saying that.
I do not f with heavy metal at all. Like it is not my thing.
Chris in Canada's ears are burning
I know,
right now.
I know. Chris is such a heavy metal head. But like, so when I hear like this like garden variety heavy metal, it doesn't phase me. It's just like it all sounds like, you know. Oh, people are gonna hate me for that one, but it's just like it's kind of true. Like I don't really like. I like.
Look, you don't have to like it.
I like rock
you don't have to like
music. I like rock music. I don't like. You know, I like what's is it called glam rock? Like the
Mhm.
is it like the I believe in a thing called Loves. Like I like that.
Yeah,
kind of
glam
music.
rock,
Yeah.
Visual K.
I,
yeah, you
yeah,
know.
I like that music, but like heavy metal with like the guttural like vocals, like that thing is just like
Yeah, I like some metal. I don't think it would be classified as heavy metal. I think that's kind of a different. I'm obviously not a metalhead because I don't know the different classifications, but I like some heavier rock music that I think is considered metal. And certainly there's like, classic metal, which I think doesn't sound like metal to a lot of people anymore because it's, Queen and stuff. So I love that stuff. But yeah, like really heavy stuff is also not really my jam, but I can enjoy it every now and then as long as I can't listen to it constantly, I think is the kicker. But no, heavy metal queen is good shit. So Daka's just wrong. It's fine. It's not the first time in this Jianghu journeys
Yeah.
that he's been wrong.
Hey, you want to hear something?
I know what you're gonna say.
What do you think I'm gonna say?
You like this episode of Champloo?
Yes, it was my top out of the 3.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
also like this episode of Champloo. But that's not surprising. I like most of them.
Here's the thing. In episode 8 of Samurai Champloo, the Ult of Altercation, we have a character.
He's a character,
And
right?
Listen, this character, Nagamitsu Sakon Shogen, he is one of those talks so much game, but is actually like an idiot. I fucking love those characters.
He's a
They're
Mr. Satan.
so much fun. And not only that, he is voiced in Japanese by Koichi Yamadera, Spike Spiegel.
That's funny.
So Spike Spiegel is talking so much smack, and when he's telling, what is it, the girl Suzu? What's her name?
Fu?
Yeah, Fu. Sorry. When he's telling Fu about like his autobiography that he's writing, and it cuts to all those scenes of him like besting people, I was dying laughing. I was like, this is the best. This is so fucking stupid. That will always get me. So yeah, I really enjoyed this episode of Samurai Champloo.
It finally happened.
It did.
Somebody get the champagne.
We just had to have it like against Heavy Metal Queen, which I do not care about.
I don't think this is like a top episode, like top episode of Samurai Champloo, but I think it's one of the most memorables just because of like the beatboxing and the way how he, he'd be like, "I'm gonna make it big one of these days." He's just always like talking himself up. Like it stands out in my memory of the show a lot. And I like the gag with the. Well, and when they go to the pawn shop, and he thought they're gonna pawn off like Jin's swords, but it was his glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Which leads to the gag of him looking for the samurai with glasses called Jin, and they happen to find each other as soon as he was getting the glasses back from the pawn shop.
But then the extra twist where like the lackey was actually like the one who was talented
yes,
and
this
was
is
going after Jin.
this is a Samurai Champloo energy. Like this is what we're talking about. It's just like it's so like it's so
It
half
clicked
that,
for
yeah.
me, man. It clicked for me.
Call it madcap. I feel like it's kind of madcap.
Yes,
Yeah.
it worked really well. But yeah, a lot of heavy lifting by that Nagamit's character. I thought his, like, what turned out to be his wife, she was okay. It
Yeah,
was just kind of like a B plot just to get Jin and, what's his name, out of the picture.
Mugen is this
Yeah,
the
yeah.
second or third time Mugen has been like tricked by like a sexy woman?
Definitely second time.
Second, and he was poisoned both times.
Yeah, I mean, like, come
What
on,
an idiot.
He cannot not think with his dick.
Yeah, but like odds are like this is probably like 1 out of 100 times. Like it's not that often. It's probably happening to him. We just don't see all the times where it goes well.
Oh yeah, okay.
Isn't that the same thing we say about Cowboy Bebop? People were like, how do they have any money? Because every like episode they fuck up like capturing like somebody. And then you're like, oh, well, I'm sure there are times that we don't see in the episodes.
No,
Where they
that's
actually
too.
do.
I tell them it's moving images on screen and it's not real.
It's true.
You have an opinion about the altercation episode of Samurai Champloo's Seamus?
I really like this. I like the bit I liked was he had the little what the fuck do you call them, like the mirror things for reflecting off him,
Yeah,
and like he had like the flames on his coat and the hair, like the whole thing was incredibly over the top and anachronistic. But then I was actually thinking, would they even have eyeglasses in this time in Japan? Because Ren finds out it's very rare, and I was like, I didn't even think about it, like having glasses.
I think they would, but they wouldn't look like what Jin wears.
Okay.
No,
I
I think
also like that dog at the end. What was it? Was it Luigi? Was the name of the dog?
Yes!
Yeah.
Yes! Oh my god, I laughed.
Just shows up with this like, I don't know what he was wearing. He's just there like all of a sudden.
It's a very ceremonial thing that they put on like animals. I don't know if it's just dogs. But yeah, that dog being Luigi was that was so stupid.
I really like the framing and the timing of the when they're in the restaurant picking out, and then he sees Fu, and then he sends like the beatboxer to like beckon her over.
Mhm.
And they have like that scene where she's like in the foreground and he's in the background, and you have the beatboxer lackey like running back and forth between them. And then like when she turns him down for the second time, he throws up like the X, like just the X with the forearm they do in Japan. Like it's just so much character, and it's really well done.
I think in the Japanese, that the person who did the beatboxing also acted that character. Because they didn't sound like a typical anime actor. They sounded like a lot more wooden.
So they probably got a like beatboxer, an actual like beatboxer. That's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. I assume they used the same audio for the English dub, which is what I watched, and it was pretty like impressive beatboxing. It was pretty cool.
Listen, I am not that into hip hop, but I do like beatboxing. So that was also a plus.
And it's just really impressive.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, the stars aligned for Samurai Champloo for me on this episode of Jianghu Journeys, that's for sure.
I do think it's a strong episode. It's just, I think it is a good example of what this show does when it's doing the most.
We got a little backstory on Jin too.
I don't give a shit. I don't care about these people. I don't care about where they come from. I just care that they're ridiculous. That's not entirely true, but
the seriousness that which they don't indulge in, is contrasted well with like, the guy being like, "What's going on?" Like, the thunder was all stolen by his lackey, and like everybody's like a goofball. And suddenly you have these two like serious people being like, "I did not betray him, but I did kill him," and it's just you're like, "What? Like, what is this like action movie macho shit happening all of a sudden in this like farcical comedy?"
Mm-hmm. I will say I also really did like the Michiko and Hatchin episode. I was debating whether to put that as my number one this week, but
I liked it too. And I kind of did this thing where like, in general, like if you're reviewing something or talking about something, it's more constructive to talk about the thing and not what you want it to be. Usually, it could be constructive to do both, but like, I had this moment where when she went into the were they in the hotel room when Michiko confronts the fake like the imposter,
yes.
Mhm.
and she like beats them all up, and it felt a lot like an exploitation action movie in that point.
Well,
And
they're playing like a kung fu movie on the
yeah,
TV.
exactly. Like, so it was like very like on the nose. It's like, indulging in like the black exploitation like iconography and stuff like that. Um, and I like, I kind of wish the show was more of that, but I know like that's like a Dark Fox thing. Um, but like is it like whenever it does things like that, like I just wish it was like I guess more madcap and more like weird and action packed and less of this kind of like, you know uh story of her like would they won't they become like a parent daughter situation. um and like the whole mystery behind what's his name, the Hitomi, wait, what's Satoshi, yeah, Satoshi, thank you. Like the whole like mystery Satoshi, and like, I mean, it kind of sounds like Satoshi is like a bad guy, so like, why are you chasing after him? I mean, obviously Michiko's like in love with him and kind of almost pathetically like in love with him, but like, yeah, in that one moment, I kind of wish it was a different show, and I would have been enjoying it a lot more. Not that I've disliked it; it's just that like it's been kind of like a general mixed bag from the start.
I think one of the things that really separates Michiko and Hatchin from the other two is that it is much sadder, like as a whole. There's a lot more like sad tragedy stuff underneath. I mean, I guess there is that in Bebop, but it kind of gets pushed aside until the end for the most part. Whereas with Michiko and Hatchin, it's a bit of a through line. You can never forget that that's there.
Yeah, that's like the
because-
driving force of the narrative.
exactly. And that just makes it harder to watch, I think, or like harder to just like you can put on Bebop or Samurai Champloo and it's just like a fun weird time. It's harder to do that with Michiko and Hatchin. It's harder to like, I feel like sometimes I have to psych myself up, be like, okay, it's time for Michiko and Hatchin. It's time to like have some feelings and think some thoughts. Yeah.
I just really engaged with this episode. I like how the cop showed back up, so they're back on the tail of Michiko and Hatchin. Things are really coming to a head between Michiko and Hachi and their relationship. And now we have like, the threat of like Satoshi and Shinichi was the other gang member or whatever. And yeah, I could tell these idiots that were like shaking people up. I was like, there is no way that's the real one. And I was right. They were fakes. They were just trying to cash in on the name, and they were getting shot, and bad stuff was happening to them. And yeah, by the end of the episode, it ends on kind of a cliffhanger, and I was just like, oh, I can't wait for the next episode.
And now we may have to wait until like next year to do another one of these episodes. So gonna have to hold it in for a while, bud.
Yep. But yeah, I thought it was really a good, engaging episode.
I agree. I think it's another strong one. This is like, for me, this is really hard looking at the three together, because I think for Samurai Champloo and Mitchiko and Hatchin, they're really strong episodes that show what these shows kind of are at their core. And Bebop, I love Heavy Metal Queen, but it's a bit of a throwaway episode. You know what I mean? Like, it's not really essential. Not that there's like a real... I would argue there's not a real story to Cowboy Bebop so much as it's like a story about a bunch of people who live together and become a found family kind of thing. But like, if you took Heavy Metal Queen out of the full run of Bebop, it would not change the story.
Yeah, it's not an essential episode.
But I love it. But then like it's really hard to look at these all and like rank them for me, because I had a good time. I feel like it was a good group of episodes, but that one sticks out as like non-essential, whereas for Samurai Champloo and Mitchiko and Hatchin, they're really important. I feel like they're important episodes of the series. They're important to show what the series is and what it can do.
Seamus, what did you think about the Mitchiko and Hatchin episode?
I really liked it, and also because I watched that in Samurai Champloo back to back. I was thinking, like, is this like the serious version of the Samurai Champloo episode, where like you got a lot of people talking a lot of shit?
With
what
the
happens
bravado,
here is,
yeah, okay.
like, you know, they actually, well, some of them get shot and die.
As opposed to in
where it's a
Samurai,
bit more like,
Mhm.
you know, he gets picked up by the wife and they go off on a boat somewhere, and he's talking about Nobunaga. Oh, he's going to fight Nobunaga.
Nobunaga, yeah.
The advantage of being dead, which is always good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the bravado character kind of well, I guess they both get away, but more bad things happen in Mitchiko and Hatchin to those idiots. They pay for acting tough.
Also, I did like at the start, alright, Chin, there's always more flaws you can find in Michiko, like threatening to beat a man with a wrench to get out of her paying for, whatchamacallit, is it a motorcycle? Motorcycle repairs?
Yeah, her motorcycle repairs. We're at the point where Hatchin has had enough, though.
Hatchin is very principled.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering, like, is that going to change at a certain point? Is she gonna suddenly like realize sometimes you can't be principled because it's like it just not fair? I'm going to have to be like Michiko a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, she lives in a harsh world where, I mean, I don't want to say, I don't ever want to say you can like, you should give up your morals or your ethics necessarily, but there are realities also to her situation, you know, that she may need to contend with a little bit more.
Yeah, like my early guess for like where the narrative goes at this point is that I think Michiko is going to die, and then Hatchin will be a new Michiko.
No.
Don't spoil it. For me.
That's funny.
You're well off the mark.
Okay, fine. That was my guess then.
The Chinese chef is gonna die, and then Hatchin is gonna be the new Chinese chef.
I'm surprised they brought that
That
Chinese chef.
is actually a lot closer to the mark.
Oh my god!
Not the Chinese chef.
Well, not that he's going to die, but
Not the Chinese. I need my racial stereotypes to stick around.
oh, it's funny because was the last time we were talking about this, you brought up like about how Michiko hates Hatchin, and Hatchin actually brings it up here. She like, I think at one point she's like, "Why are you hitting me? Like, why are you so angry?"
Yeah, she talks about how like every time we talk, we fight, and I don't want to be around you anymore. Even though like Michiko says like, "Well, I made the promise to protect you, right?" Kind of interesting how Michiko still stands by that.
Because she's principled in her own ways.
Ah,
You know, she has her code, her criminal code. By the way, I literally found out this week that malandro in Portuguese means like crook, criminal.
Malandro, that's funny.
Her name literally
oh my
means
god, manga crafting.
Michiko, the bad guy. Like, because my daughter was like, "How do you say bad guy in Spanish?" And I was like, "I have no idea." And my husband goes, "Well, in Portuguese, it's malandro." I'm like, "What? Wait, what?
You said what? You did a spit take.
You didn't think of telling me this sooner?"
That's really funny how your husband didn't mention that to you until now.
He may have mentioned it the first time we watched the series through. I literally had no memory of it though.
It's bad hombres
Bad hombres.
in Spanish.
I'll let her know. She'll be glad to know.
I know we've hit all the episodes and all the shows. I'm trying to remember any other specifics I want to bring up.
I think on Mitchiko and Hatchin, because I did think maybe it was just the fact a lot of it was like at night and the play, yeah. Like even like the scenes in the hotel, and it's like a really lit up city, like they're kind of staying in, and like the room's all in darkness. I think like a lot of the lighting, for lack of a better word, was like really good in that episode. Really, I guess like the first half before she kind of goes to the hotel and kind of at that page, kind of Hatchin is gone.
Oh, in that sense, like, I like how like the lighting was at the end of the episode, after they ride all the trains, and then they have the actual meeting with the guy. I thought that scene looked pretty good.
Just the like randomly rural tram stop.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned we're gonna like, yeah, there is like a level of seriousness to this show the other shows don't have. I can't imagine. Well, I guess to be fair, I guess Cowboy Bebop, you do kind of get it towards at times.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if there are two thoughts I have about why this is more serious. I mean, okay, it's a different show with a different director and different writers. It doesn't have to be the same, but I'm just, you know, it's a newer show, and I feel like maybe there's a bit of a shift in a lot of anime toward more serious stories at some point. I also think some of it has to do with the director herself and the kind of work that she puts out. A lot of it has kind of that tone. I'm thinking of like a woman called Fujiko Mine, which is pretty dark, truly. And I also, and this is, I don't know how much weight I want to put on this position, but I wonder too if some of it has to do with the fact that our protagonists in Michiko and Hatchin are female. And I mean, I guess like there are women characters in the other shows. Boo is kind of the protagonist of Samurai Champloo, but like she's not super interesting, so who cares? But you have not only this like difficult world that Michiko and Hatchin are operating in, but they are also women operate or girls operating in this space, which is like an added layer of challenge. And there's like the romance aspect and the familial aspect that doesn't really exist in Bebop or in Samurai Champloo, where like in the other two, nobody's really taking care of each other. Michiko has to take care of Hatchin. It's a different relationship that is, you have a guardian or a responsible adult, or who's somebody who's supposed to be a responsible adult, and a child. There is Ed in Cowboy Bebop, but she's kind of
Yeah, we're gonna have
her
to
own
talk about
thing.
Ed when we get to
Yes. I keep forgetting it takes so long to get to her. I think it's the next one, right? I think it's
Ed.
episode
No,
9.
it's in 2 episodes.
Seriously? My god. It takes her forever to get on the scene, man. But she's a whole
Next
different
episode
thing.
is Waltz for Venus, which I feel like everyone else here is gonna argue is one of the worst episodes. But I like that episode.
We'll see.
Thank you,
We'll find out next year.
2026, here we come.
Right? So yeah, I think there's just because of the nature of the relationship and because of it's not like the other two settings are not harsh environments, but the groups in both cases are more or less adults navigating these, whereas there's an extra layer of danger or stress involved when it's not just your own ass you're protecting a child. Whether or not Michiko's doing a good job of that is a different conversation.
I guess that's very true because in Cowboy Bebop, they're basically all like very capable, right? Even in Samurai Champloo, you have Fu, but she's kind of capable. She gets in a lot of bad situations and she seems to be getting out of them pretty okay.
Yeah, I mean, she's an expert dealer, dice dealer, obviously, so she can do whatever she wants.
But in Mitchiko and Hatchin, even in the first episode, Hatchin is getting abused. And she keeps getting put in like bad situations. And it's as you said, Morgana, a dangerous world that they live in. That threat is always there. Maybe as we keep watching the show, it's gonna get kind of old then? Is it gonna be bad as we keep watching Michiko and Hatchin? It's like, oh boy, Hatchin's in trouble again. Gotta get saved. I don't know.
I don't think so. Because I was trying to kind of remember where the show go. Like I kind of remember where it's going next, and I think it kind of goes in I wouldn't say in a kind of interesting direction later on with what happens with Satoshi and like interested in the sense there's kind of like more going on with that whole criminal organization and its own like internal politics and like kind of that plays out into some other characters. And the detective woman whose name I can't remember, you get more stuff with her.
That's cool.
And the bald guy she's with actually also becomes more of a character.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's some stuff with like not like a main character, but like they definitely give him more than you'd think. You just think he'd kind of be like this mid player.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's a show that's got legs, and like the relationship does change.
I mean, I haven't seen either Michiko and Hatchin or Samurai Champloo, but at this point, like it feels like I have more to anticipate with like how characters grow in Mitchiko and Hatchin than in Samurai Champloo. I feel like in Samurai Champloo, I don't even want that. The madcap that they had for the altercation here in episode 8. This seems to be like what everybody else here is talking about. That is good about.
I wouldn't say this specific episode, but like like you're saying, like they're not that pushed about their backstory. I think we do get a bit with Mugen, and we get a bit more Jin and Fu, but it is more like, okay, what situation can we put them in this week? And like who can we surround them with, and like what's going to happen?
That's also the strongest episodes of Cowboy Bebop too. Screw the Syndicate and whatever else that has to deal with the, Spike's sadness. Let's just watch that crew get into some,
I think that was what Nabe's thought when he was making Samurai Champloo.
Really? Like he's like,
Yes.
oh, interesting.
Well, so like on Wikipedia they like linked to this interview, but he talks about how after he did Cowboy Bebop, he was kind of given like a blank check, but he kind of didn't like how like serious and heavy Cowboy Bebop was. So with Samurai Champloo, he kind of wanted to do something different and like
Okay.
go away from that kind of like the drama, and like a lot of it in Cowboy Bebop kind of gets tied into the spikes and the good stuff.
Right.
That's
Even-
also I think when I compared to Samurai Champloo or Skirt Cowboy Bebop, like, there's just so little backstory, like to the point where like they hadn't really figured out like what was gonna how the show was gonna end while they were making it. They just didn't put that much thought into it compared to what they do with Cowboy Bebop.
Even the damn director doesn't like the Syndicate shit.
Yeah, for real.
I don't know as he didn't like, but he wanted
Sure,
to do, like,
sure.
something. And like literally, like you said, he was given like effectively a blank check. He like I think they mentioned how they were given like a load of time to like come up with what wanted to do with the show, and they brought in like maybe people who didn't have necessarily like anime experience, not a whole lot of like experience working on anime to like really try and do something different.
When we're done with this Jianghu Journeys, I think we should watch Space Dandy and watch him go even further off the rails in terms of how serious or not serious something is.
Yeah, I always meant to go. I see like the first 6 episodes of that, and yeah, that
It's
show
so
is wild.
fun. I just remember when it came out and people were like, "Why is this so dumb?" And I was like, "You saw the trailer, right? Like this is."
You saw the title of the show, right?
Yeah, and of course, you know, they see Shinichiro Watanabe and they're like, "Oh, it's gonna be like the next Bebop," and I'm like, "Please don't. Not everything has to be like." Again, I love Cowboy Bebop. Not everything has to be Cowboy Bebop. Sometimes things can be their own thing. Space Dandy is great. It's a lot of fun. And absolutely ridiculous, and we should watch it. But it's gonna take us like 3 years to get through this, so one step at a time.
Yeah, Dart, what was that show on HBO or whatever, or maybe Netflix? Lazarus?
Oh, yeah, Lazarus is a new show. Yeah,
Did you keep up with that?
No, I never finished that. I saw like the first 5 episodes or so. It was like, it was like okay, interesting concept, but like it didn't hook me like his other shows. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty serious overall. Kind of want to go back and see how that ended because it was an apocalyptic scenario, and they were trying to see if they could stop the apocalypse or stop like the death of humanity, basically.
Right. I think at this current point, like, well, we've all seen Cowboy Bebop. Most of us here have seen Samurai Champloo. Some of us have seen all of Mitchiko and Hatchin. And
One of us.
one of us.
Yeah, I
Being
think I
shameless.
stopped like 1 or 2 short of the end.
But yeah, it's we've always talked about how like these shows are like similar in a lot of ways, but they are like really different in the fact that Michiko and Hatchin is all about this narrative of this relationship between Michiko and Hatchin. It seems like the driving force of the narrative, aka the serious stuff. In Cowboy Bebop, you have that serious stuff in the background, but the best parts of it are the, where they just go on adventures and they have different theming and the music's really good. And then you have Samurai Champloo, which it seems like it's just the wacky adventures. And the wackier it gets, it seems like the better it is. At least that's what I can tell. That's my impression of these 3 shows. So they, for all the similarities that they have and that where we started with, when we're comparing these 3 shows, I feel like they've kind of like gone off in their own directions to be very, different as well.
Bakazu, it's almost like they were selected with this in mind.
It was
Did you plan for all this, Seamus?
Seamus is a very careful
Well,
curator.
like I said, I've seen all. Well, I actually thought I saw them all at the same time before, and then I went back and I saw no. I just kind of like they all overlapped. But then I had the idea of, okay, I should definitely watch them all like at the same time.
Yeah.
Samurai Champloo also really focuses on like the guest character. Like Bebop does this as well, but like I feel like Samurai does it more. Where like, yeah, there's the main three and their wacky adventures, but there's usually or frequently like a character for this episode that's like the focal point or like the instigating factor. And sometimes they're like the highlight. Like this time it was the self-aggrandizing guy and his lackeys. Before there was the for Pete's sake, like constable character.
The cop. Yeah.
There later on there's like a character who plays a biwa, and she's pretty memorable. Yeah, there's a few other characters I'm thinking about that like, oh, I want to watch that episode again, because it's like that's their episode, and after that they either die at the end of the episode or they just walk away, like walk off screen, and then you never see them again.
I think the problem has been that in Samurai Champloo, so far the only guest characters that have really stuck with me are like the funny ones, being the constable and like this like self-grandizing guy.
Mm-hmm. I do think those are the strongest, but there's a couple of moody ones like the Biwa character. I want to see that episode again. I think that's a good one. I think she was playing a Biwa, the long thick guitar. There's not two of those, is there?
It's like a kind of rounded. It's not the shamisen. Right?
Yes, there is.
God damn it.
The shamisen, the biwa.
There's
What
also
else?
the koto, which is the one on the floor.
Well, yeah.
I don't think
It's not the floor guitar.
The floor guitar.
Tap dancing on that floor guitar.
I feel like it's the biwa, but I guess we'll find out.
I guess we shall. Is there anything that we want to mention about these 3 episodes? I feel like we're kind of wrapping up, winding down.
Good time.
Feels like we all went out drinking, and we were all quiet, and then Jarfox just is like, good time.
I like the eye catch in Samurai Champloo when the guy goes, Samurai Champloo.
Oh yeah,
the mid-title for this episode of Samurai Champloo, hilarious anime.
Yes. I also like they had one for Mitchiko and Hatchin on this episode. I really liked the graffiti art.
Oh yeah. They did a lot of graffiti art for that.
Mm-hmm.
For the eye catch. That was a lot.
But yeah, anything else? If not, we will go to our rankings. Okay then. For me, Samurai 1, Mitchiko 2, Cowboy Bebop 3.
Oh, this is hard.
You got the ranking sheet up, Seamus?
No, I haven't, and I'm putting in the numbers.
Oh, you have it. Okay. I don't know why I thought Seamus had it.
I think I brought up the idea of doing the ranking sheet.
Okay, it's good. I'm glad I gave you credit in my brain.
I come up with the ideas, and then other people do the work.
Seamus is the idea guy.
Yeah.
That's why he gets all the money.
That's the director. That's what the director does.
What money?
That's
actually
all that
no. You manage the coffee, don't you? That goes to your account.
Yeah.
He literally does get the money.
He's
I'm
fun.
sure, and sure, the current goal is me going to Comic It.
Oh my god. Yes, we will update that.
$3,000.
Oh my god. Send Seamus to Comic Cats $3,000. Fine. Anyway, what's your rankings?
I think I'm Champloo, Bebop, and Mitchiko and Hatchin.
Okay.
This is so hard. I want to put Cowboy Bebop in a different ranking. Like I want them to be separate. I think Michiko and Hatchin is first for me.
Morgana's thinking
Yeah,
so
I'm
hard.
really struggling with this because like, all right, I guess let me think about it in terms of like which one would I rather watch again, and then it would be Bebop, and then it would be Samurai Champloo. But I don't think there's any way I could rank these that I'd be happy with. So I'm going with that. That's the mood right now.
All right.
Bebop has a cute kitty in it.
Yeah, that goes a long way. Also, like I was telling my husband, because at the beginning, Spike is making the prairie oyster. And I was like, I knew what a prairie oyster was before I had ever even smelled whiskey. Because I was like 12 when I watched this show for the first time. You know what I mean? Like, I knew so much about alcohol just because I watched Cowboy Bebop at an impressionable age.
Have any of you actually had a prairie oyster?
No.
Definitely not.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I was kind of interested, but I've never done it.
It's like raw egg and Tabasco and what else is in it? Something else.
Hold on, I'll look it up.
Sounds terrible. I mean,
pepper and stuff like that.
I like raw eggs. Put that out there, but everything else in there sounds awful.
Yeah, put some Cholula in there. Tabasco's.
Prairie oyster, a traditional beverage, consists of a raw egg, Worcestershire sauce, vinegar, and or hot sauce, salt, and ground black pepper.
Yeah,
A small amount of tomato juice is sometimes added.
I'll pass, thanks.
I thought there's booze in here.
No, it's supposed to cure the booze.
Yeah, but sometimes hair of the dog, right? Like,
Yeah, you're
sometimes you'll
supposed
just drink whiskey after drinking whiskey.
Yeah, you're supposed to have like some alcohol to cure the hangover.
That's like addict talk.
That's a real
no,
thing.
The alcohol doesn't cure the hangover. The alcohol gets you drunk. That like helps deaden the effects of the hangover.
Yeah.
All right.
It's not about curing it. It's about like deadening the sickening feeling in your stomach.
Writing it out easier.
Yep.
You want to know like an actual cure for like a hangover? Glucose.
I thought you were gonna say don't drink. You're supposed to trade edged.
No. There's
Glucose, as in
Yeah.
just like drinking
sugar.
Well, in Japan they have Lamuna candy, and that candy is basically just like hardened glucose. So in Japan they say if you want to cure a hangover, just like have some Lamuna candy.
I don't think that works.
I'm pretty sure it does. I read it in a manga once. A manga wouldn't lie to me.
Sometimes I have like sugar to cure like a headache, but that's just me.
Well, you can also get a headache if you don't have enough sugar.
Yeah.
Because your brain uses
The
that.
key is prevention. You just need to drink enough water when you're getting drunk that you don't get dehydrated.
There you
So
go.
you get all the benefits of being incredibly drunk, and you don't get the downsides the following day. Then you wake up the following day, you're like,
You're ready to go again.
you're tired because you've got fuck all sleep, but like you can eat breakfast.
Oh, Seamus, we never got your ranking.
I am gonna go Michiko Samurai Cowboy.
Damn, I'm gonna be I'm gonna have Michiko ranked in the bottom so often. They're gonna think I'm a hater.
You have ranked Michiko 4 out of the 7 episodes that we've watched on the bottom. No, actually, 4 out of 8, so a 50%.
Well, like this is how we're booking it, like
50-50 booking?
No,
You win half, you lose half?
The booking is like in like a year and a half time, Dara's now going to become a mad Michiko fan.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna see the
gotta
promo.
balance it out.
The promo of me being a hater at first, then yeah.
We got to get that character growth. Same with that's why Dakazu, like you're so down, quote unquote, on Samurai Champloo at the moment.
Oh, am I gonna be like the biggest samurai stan at the end of this?
Exactly, yeah.
You're gonna get into hip hop, everything.
So Seamus's plan all along.
We'll see. We'll
It's all
see.
about the. Well, if I was a good booker, I wouldn't be telling you this.
Gotcha.
We're going to the Russo School of Booking. It's all a swerve.
Oh, jeez.
I'm going to come out on top. Well, to be fair, Russo, not the first or last booker to book themselves going top.
Fair enough. Okay, that's our rankings. That means that is our episode of Jianghu Journeys. Let's wrap things up. I want to thank Darfox, Morgana, and Seamus for joining me. Reminder that next week we will be talking about the 4th volume of #Dear Seal and the 3rd collection of The Climber, both by Shinichi Sakamoto. Stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed Manga Machinations, make sure you subscribe to us, review us, rate us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever else you can find us. Check out our websites, mangamachinations.com. Our Tumblr is mangamachinations.tumblr.com. Check out our YouTube channels, youtube.com/MangaMachTV, where we have our live recordings when Darfox is here. We also have MangaMach Watches and our gaming channel, Nakayoshi Gaming, where Darfox is playing Silent Hill F.
Yes.
Come join our Discord server. Just go to discord.me/MangaMach. If you want to financially support us, buy us a coffee. ko-fi.com/MangaMach. Send emails over to mangamachinations@gmail.com or follow us on social media at MangaMach Podcast. That's Manga MAC Podcast. We're mostly on Blue Sky, but we do have Instagram, Twitter, everything else. Or you can follow our personal social media. Follow me at Dakazu. Follow Darfox at Darfox8. Follow Morgana at Morgana Relina. And follow Seamus at Seamus2389. Remember, Seamus is spelled without an H. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to us this week. Bye-bye.